Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Stamping A to Z, the what is it and how to all things Stampin' Up. Every Wednesday I do a live and I pick a product and I show you how to use it and all the different ways you can use it. Not all of them, obviously. I could go on forever and ever if that was the case, but new and different ways, hopefully, that you haven't thought of to use them. Creative ways just to get you thinking and get your creativity on. So today is episode 70 and we're going to be looking at tissue paper. I know, tissue paper. Why tissue paper? So our paper pumpkin that you can get once a month, it comes wrapped in tissue paper inside the box. And I've always just kind of set aside the tissue paper. I don't like throwing it out, but I've never really used it. And then I came across some different ways to use tissue paper. We had, and I don't know if we still do, there was some tissue paper-ish paper that came out when the Eden's Garden suite came out. So we did play with it a little then, but it was darker paper. So I've come up with some new ways to use the lighter paper. I had seen someone mention a faux silk technique and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So then I started looking into things and decided to start playing and had lots of fun. So I wanted to pass it on to you guys, show you some fun ways to use tissue paper, and hopefully you can, everybody has tissue paper, either from gift bags or unless you're really good about throwing everything out, but I know I have stores of tissue paper here and there. So yeah, we're going to look at that. But before we do, I just wanted to remind you, there's only 2 more days. Ooh, it's really bright. For the Savings Are in Bloom sale. It ends tomorrow. It is the little mini embossing cut and embossing machine, and then a whole bunch of bundles that are on sale. They're 20% off. So it's a really good deal right now. Some of them are retiring. Some of them are on our last chance list, which is the other thing that is out. The last chance items are listed on my store. So if you go on there and you want to take a peek and there's stuff that you want, by all means, go take a look at that before you lose out tomorrow. So let me turn you around and let's get started. Oh, I hate my hands here. And instead of flipping you over, so here we go. Some technical difficulties here, and the volume was way down. And okay, so as you can tell, it looks a little frosty here. I've got a piece of, it's like a huge placemat. It was in the office. I think it's meant as a desk cover. It's from IKEA. I don't know if they still have them. I bought a few, and they're actually kind of on this side. It's got a bit of texture. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm using the smooth side. Let me just turn on my Facebook to see if I can see this, and hopefully it'll show me comments today. We will see. Okay. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing is I'm just gonna show you a bunch of ways to use tissue paper without going into the cards yet. I do have my usual 3 cards to show you. So I've cut up a bunch. This is kind of the standard tissue that comes in our paper pumpkin. It's usually this color, but every time there's a bit of a special box, like for March it was a yellow, probably so saffron or something. So there's different colors. There has been white. So if you've got paper pumpkins, you probably have tissue papers if you've kept them. If not, all good. You can always get tissue paper at the dollar store or from gifts you get. So most tissue, or all tissue paper, I would think, has a glossy side and a matte side. If you're going to stamp on it, I would use the matte side just because it's easier, unless you're using like a StazOn or something, and then because otherwise you really have to make sure it's dry before it's not like so plasticky that it won't sink in, but it'll just take a little longer to dry. And then also for soaking up things, I've played with pretty much the matte side the whole time. You can always turn it over and use the other side to get that silky effect, just to get the glossy. It's totally up to you and your luck. So I've got the whites, I've got the blues. I'm going to show you a little bit of each. So I have a bunch of different ways to add color to, it could be colored tissue paper. I'm going to use white just for the sake of demonstration. So the first one, you can get a really subtle look by, oh, I forgot to take out my stamp pads, by just using some blending brushes. So I'm gonna move this, grab a stamp pad here. We'll take out some gorgeous grape. So even though this is a really dark color, it kind of, you know, you can see it, it's still quite a subtle, I mean, obviously you can go over it as much as you want. Take some balmy blue. I just re-inked my balmy blue, so it's quite, so obviously if you want a really subtle, not much color look, you would just be lighter with your brush. You want more color, then you would be a little heavier handed. So so if I take a piece of, so normally you wouldn't put this on a card as your cardstock, so you would put it on top of a white or whatever color, and then that really brings out the color. So this, and I'll show you from the glossy side, so you can still use both sides. I will show you the best ways to get it down onto your cardstock once we start getting into the cards. But first I'm going to show you different ways to color. If you are just joining, let me know you're here, say hi. I love to know when other people are watching, ask questions. I try to keep an eye on it as I go. Sometimes I get a little into my project. So, okay, so I'm going to move these aside. The next way that you can do this is you can take some blends. These are alcohol-based blends. And I've taken, I think they're all dark versions. Dark So Saffron, dark Flirty Flamingo, and this one is light Misty Moonlight. And so I don't know if some of you might have seen the vellum with using the blends. This is a similar technique. It's not as, you're not making it kind of move as much with the vellum, but you can kind of control where your colors are with this, and you can put as much or as little color on here. Okay, so then you've got a few options. You can take a Stampin' Spritzer and spritz it with regular alcohol. That would just give you some color. But I have added, if you have any of the shimmer paint that we no longer have, but I still have some, I added it to my Stampin' Spritzer, and I just added some alcohol to it. So I don't know if you can see, but it looks like a shimmery spritz. So it's the same thing, and it has alcohol, but it has shimmer. The only thing with this is it does get a little bit sticky. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to spray just plain alcohol first, so it doesn't stick too much. And then I'm going to add my spritz. Oh, my glitter, I mean. Now, you can see it's not moving it, and I don't want to have so much alcohol that it's a crazy amount. So instead, oh, I forgot to fill up my water bottle. Hang on a sec. Luckily I have some drinking water here. We'll just add some because my water painter is, hopefully this isn't going to dry on me. My water painter is out of water. So I'm going to just dip my brush into here, and then I'm just going to get some movement going in here. So when I'm done with my pink, I want to wipe it off, and of course I'll take a baby wipe here and just we'll add some more water. Might be better to add with alcohol, but anyways, there we go. And then I'm going to take my tissue paper, mat side down, and we'll just let it fall in there and soak that up. You can move it around. You can, like, if you want to get more on there. So I have fairly big sheets, but it's just so that I can then cut it down to the size that I want. If I want a bit more here. And then I'm just going to let that dry. So it doesn't look like much right now, but as it dries, it will darken. And then don't forget, once you get the white layer behind, it'll be even more visible. So that's another one that I will show you as it dries. Yellow decided to dry up on me. So you want to have your stuff ready before you get started. Unlike myself, who seems to be forgetting everything. Okay, that goes on my brush. So the next one that you can do is to just, if you've got Stampin' Spritzers or any kind of spray bottle, you can fill them with some alcohol, and then you can just add the refill colors drops to them. So this one is Pool Party, and this one is Balmy Blue. And you can simply spray some blue. Oh, I should have a window open. This all is getting to me. Okay. And then we will find our matte side and go down again. Now, if you really want a much more saturated color look, it's hard for you to tell right now, but it's not, let me find a white. If I go, it's there, but it's not super colored. So another option is to just add the drops direct to your mat. Then add the alcohol. Now with this, unless you add a whole pile of alcohol, again, you're going to want to, which one? Sorry, one is gluier than the other, so I just don't want to use my one that I'm going to use for actual painting. And just kind of get it moving here. Okay, and then add the tissue paper, and you will have a much deeper, richer look of colors, as you can already tell. So here, if I hold it over the paper again, you can see already that it's a much darker look. So it just depends what you're kind of going for with your look as to how rich you want it. Okay, another one is, this one's really fun. I'm gonna pull up my sleeves for this one. We used to have the Watercolor Crystals, or even before that, I think they were Brusho which you can get at any craft store. So if you have some, these are super fun to play with. So these ones had the little cap in them. And then you can just sprinkle. Oops, that's quite a bit. More than I wanted, but that's okay. Maybe a bit of purple. So this one actually gets you quite a vibrant look as well. I mean, you could make it softer by putting less and more alcohol and just play with it. But if you're kind of looking for a, I like this one because it's kind of that surprise, kind of, you don't really know what you're gonna get until you have it on the paper. Okay, so I've got my colors. Then I'm gonna take my alcohol, and you gotta be careful because like the crystals go everywhere and make quite a mess. So again, like see how they're flying? You might want to use your brush, wherever I put it, and spread it out. You could do it like this. You end up with kind of crystals all over the place, which is not always great because if water hits them, then they make even more of a mess. So we'll just kind of spread this out a little. Now we'll get the yellow going. There we go. And then you can see how vibrant that is. And we'll stick our tissue paper down here. Oh yeah, look at that. Pretty cool. And the nice thing is if you have the Stampin' Up! Ones, look at my hands. These ones were actually colors that are match with our colors. I don't remember what. Cool, right? Can't wait to see that one dried. You can dry it with, let me just wipe this up and then I'll put it down and show you. It's fairly easy to dry it with a heat tool, especially if you have the one that has the 2 heat settings. So I'm putting it on the other side. Oh my goodness. Try and get most of the loose dye off my hands so I'm not making a mess when we're making cards. So if we just come in and heat it up here. You'll have to do both sides. So you do one side and then you'll see when I flip it over that the other side is still quite wet too. But because it is such thin paper, it dries very quickly. You can see it's already floating around. Let me just wipe this up again. And it's not dry, but it'll dry super fast. Now, like even this one, oops, over here, it looks pretty dry, but it's fairly faint in color. So yeah, look at the brilliance of the crystals. So again, depending on the look, you can get the darker or the lighter looks. Okay, so that's the messiest part of things. Now I'm going to show you what I did with those. So I'm going to move this so I don't get any more color anywhere. Make sure that's clean. I'm going to take another baby wipe, make sure I'm not losing any color. Oh, look at that. There is color coming off, but hopefully that's as much as it'll come off, hopefully. Okay, so the first one is I took, so this one is kind of similar to this background, only it was not done with it was done with the blends, and then some alcohol and the, I don't know if you can see the shimmer paint on there. And I started wrapping it around, but I've actually decided I'm going to run it through my Big Boss here with a rectangular die, which is this one. And I need the plate. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut it out. Actually, it's better to run. Oh no, it cut through. So now I gotta make sure I'm on the. I've got like loose hair. Must be shedding season. It's spring. Okay. Well, if you put it in at an angle, I mean, you can put it through straight. It just curls that much more. So if you don't want your dies to be all curled, it's better if you put it in at an angle. Hopefully that cut through because it's, I've got several layers there, but it should. You can run it through a couple times if you want to make sure. As you can see, it did cut well. Now the other part, I don't know if you can notice, it's driving me nuts. A piece of my hair got underneath when I went to put it down, and I couldn't get it out because the paper is so thin, it'll tear. So what I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to try and cover it up. So the fun thing with these backgrounds, let me pull out just so you can see. So these are a bunch that I did. I was just playing the other day. This one has shimmer but hardly any color. Like I said, the crystals, if you don't get them all wet, they really start to spread everywhere. Like this transfers. This was one of the first ones I did. So what do you do with all of these? I find it best to play, put a bunch of color down, and then decide what you're going to do with them, like what inspires you from there. So this was super colorful, and I had seen a sample of a card. It wasn't a Stampin' Up! Card, and it was these beautiful colors, and then there was this big huge flower, and I just thought, oh, that's really pretty. So I took, this flower is from the Ranunculus Romance bundle. It is this really, you can cut out just the flower. Like I could cut it just here and put something behind and it would just pop through. This one I used both pieces and cut it out, and then I cut out a solid piece, and I had watercolored the front of the cutout of the flower. And I know it doesn't really match, but I think it just kind of, it doesn't match, but it does match. I like the kind of look. So from there, I'm just going to show you the finished one. It has these beautiful leaves. So I cut out the leaves with Mossy Meadow, and then I stamped from that same set. Let me pull out the stamp set here if I can get under all my wet paper. It's a really pretty, so I don't know, I told you guys last week that I was going for the distressed, more kind of layered look. I'm working on it. So I had bought this set for that. I had seen some junk journals using this kind of stuff, and I've seen a bunch of cards that are like so many layers and just so over the top, which isn't really me, but I kind of like the look of it. So I've just been wanting to play with it. So I just took this stamp and I cut it apart and I glued it down, and again with the Mossy Meadow behind, and there you go. So this one's going to be brighter, but again, I might not use Mossy Meadow with this one, but we'll see. We'll see what works. I haven't cut out the leaves or anything. So that was the first one. So that's just putting the tissue paper down. I think I used glue for this one. I didn't wrinkle it. I just went straight on. Oy! Oh, this isn't glued down all the way. There we go. There. Okay. So the next one I had, it was this looking one, and it just looked like water. And again, inspiration, I had seen my upline, Lindsay Mahan. She had done a Let's Set Sail card, which is this set with it has a punch that goes with it, and I've been wanting to use this set. So I just thought, oh, hers was using vellum. I think it was vellum. Anyways, just a similar look is what I went for. That's what kind of inspired me. But I got thinking, I was like, oh, this is water. So then I thought, well, what about stamping on here after having this nice background? So I remembered that we have, not only do we have the Set Sail, it's stuck. Okay, but we have this Gentle Waves, is this what it is called? Background, yes, Gentle Waves background stamp. It is in the mini catalog, so it's still available. And I just want to stamp the water part of things, so I'm gonna line up where I want it. Put my magnet down here. I don't want to be in the way. Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to take, so this was Balmy Blue. So I'm going to take my Balmy Blue and I'm going to ink up this top part. And I'm going to stamp it off first. Because I do not want it full strength. I don't want it to take over the look. And then I'm going to stamp it down. As a more washed kind of look. So I don't know if you can see that, but it just kind of has the little waves through there. And then I'm going to take this plate off. Well, actually, I don't need that yet. Sorry. That's for the sails. I'll put the sails on here in a minute. For the cloud part, now it helps if you've got some kind of paper under here, like this dark doesn't help. You want to be able to see. I happen to have, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to show you guys this new stuff because it's out of the new annual catalog. I was looking for the rules and couldn't find anything that said, I know I'm not allowed to show you the catalog, but I think I can. So this stamp is from one of the sets that I got sent. We have on tour next week where they're going to be showing us lots of new stuff, and I've been playing with it, and I just thought this kind of looks, it's a background stamp. Here, I'm just looking. I'm looking for pool party. That's what I'm looking for. I'm just kind of, I don't know where, I know I had it out. Where did it go? Mr. Pool Party, where are you? Oh, it's buried. I see it. Okay. So here, I'll just stamp it on the paper so you can see what it looks like. So doesn't that look like kind of puffy clouds, and then mixed in this, it just kind of gives it some dimension. So again, I'm going to stamp off because I don't want it full strength. There, and then that gives it a little bit more movement to it, so you can kind of add to your inked background. So now I've got my water, I've got my clouds, now I need my sailboat. And the only part of the sailboat that I wanted to show you was for the punch part of it. So if you punch just a piece of cardstock, and then you would put it down. No, I don't know how I had it for this one. Let's start over again, and then I don't have to worry about how it was. So what you would do is you would have your, see here, you just put your stamp, oh, it's the wrong way, that's why. There we go. Okay. You then, whatever you want to stamp within the punch, you line up your stamps inside and then close the door, pick up the stamps, and then you can remove this. And then, I don't know, I feel like I forgot to take a little piece of scrap paper back. Take out a piece of paper here. And then make sure you're gonna, you know, you don't want to waste paper, that's the thing. So if you use as little as possible. And then I think I used polish pink for this, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use purple for this since I have it out. And I'm just going to pick up my sails. And the best part, I don't think I inked it up very well, as you can kind of see. So if it's not, I mean, I'm okay with that because they're sails. But if you wanted a really solid image, you could ink it up again and just stamp it down again and you would be good. But I don't mind this, so I'm going to go with it. Kind of look like that look. And then to make it really easy to punch, because it's already lined up, you should be able, except for, to just come in here and line it up perfectly and punch it out. Of course, I wasn't using that part. And there's my sails, perfectly lined up and punched. So you don't have to do it one at a time and try and aim it within your punch to get it. You can do, like if you wanted, there's a stamp for the boat as well. So you could, if you wanted different colors, you can have these come with 2 plates. So you could use a different plate, or you could just use the other side. And then you would line up your boat again, like so you would leave this down, however you lined it up when you put it on. Bring it back down, line up your boat, and then you do this in one color, flip it around, and do the other one in another color. So the Stamparatus makes it pretty nifty for doing stuff like that. And it's really great if you're doing a bunch of cards all the same. It makes it quick and easy. So that is my trick that I wanted to show you with the boat. So the finished card, oh, I should show you wrapping the card actually. So I've got a piece of basic white, and I've got this. Now you could just use your stamping seal and put it down, but then it might be wrinkly, it might be, so you could use glue. But the easiest way to do this is to take adhesive sheet and you just peel. And I've got this cut just slightly smaller, so it'll kind of be like on the inside of this. And like this. And then you can take your, if you don't have nails like moi, you take your Take-A-Pick tool and get in behind there. Peel it. You can do half at a time if it's easier. You want more control. So you're not sure where you're laying it down. And peel both of them. And then I want to make sure that my water, actually, if I have it on the dark, I can see it much better. So let's move that. And then I can see where I'm aiming for this. We want a little more of the blue. There And then just, so I got some wrinkles in, but that's okay. It kind of gives it that texture. So again, you can wrap it, or you could just cut it as a frame. The best way to wrap, if you're, actually I'll show you the wrapping on the next one, because I'm going to do the faux silk on the next one. So I will stop that there, and I'll just show you the finished. I cut out the boat twice just to give it a shadow in the background, and I glued that down direct to the background, and then I popped up the sails to give it, and then it has the little seagulls, so I stamped those, and then just the adventure awaits I embossed with white embossing folder, and you can see the waves and the kind of the cloud definition. So yeah, that's the next one. Okay, now we're gonna move on from the background stuff, and we're going to do what is called a faux silk technique. Move this aside, put the punch away. Okay, we don't need this. So first, I'm going to take a piece, a bigger piece. This is from our paper pumpkin, and I'm going to take this Ranunculus Romance stamp set, and I'm going to be using kind of the backgroundish stamps. So that one, and this one. And this is basically, what did I decide? It's kind of a hybrid between Pool Party and Balmy Blue. I think it's closer to Balmy Blue, or I like Balmy Blue with it. So I'm going to use Balmy Blue. And once again, I'm going to be stamping off because I don't want, this is meant to be in the background. So I don't want it to be like in your face colored. So we'll stamp, especially because I just re-inked it also. So just don't know if you can see that. I will I think that's probably good, that one. Then I'll take this little Eiffel Tower. I'm stamping off when I'm supposed to be inking, and brain malfunction. Okay. And then we'll take this, I don't know what this is. It's like a book. What do you call them? I don't have them anymore. Oh my goodness. You used to go to the library and you'd look up the, I can't think of the name. It's been so long. Okay, so we've got our background going. And you just want to make sure that it's dry before you do anything else. I'm just going to give it a quick. This is more important if you were to do it on the silky side. But now you're just going to take it and you're going to crumple it up. And then you're going to uncrumple it. Now with this one, because it's words, you can tell which side you stamped on. Otherwise, you could put it down on the silky side and get that silky look. So once again, we're going to take our basic white, and we're going to take, if you want to be able to kind of move and pinch your your wrinkles, you might be better off using glue. I am a messy glue person. I find when I use glue, no matter how hard I try, I have it on my hands, I have it on, and it gets on other papers, and So I prefer this one just because it is easier and cleaner to do. So it's just a little more work to get that first part off, but once you get it off, you're good to go. So I've got my sheet and then I've got my paper, and I'm basically, I just want a bit more wrinkles in here. Make sure I have it the right way. So if I look where's the R's? I can barely see it. I think this is the right way. Anyways. Oh no, this looks like the matte side. Okay. And then I'm just gonna drop it down and kind of smoosh it down gently so that it has all these beautiful wrinkles in it, so that you kind of get that wrinkled silk effect. Now, if you really wanted the silk, you would go on the glossy side. But the other thing I noticed was if you run it through, like say if I took the rectangular cutout, or you could even just run it through and flatten it all, I find it gives it even more, it allows the sheen to pop a little more. But as for wrapping, just cut it down if you've got too much excess. You kind of want the same amount all the way around. Makes it a little neater and tidier when you go to wrap it. Okay. And then you can take your stamping seal or whatever, you can take glue, whatever your preference is. And I just go around the whole outside. And what I do is I do the corners first. So I'm gonna, just like wrapping a present, and make those nice corners so you have a nice mitered edge to fold in and it doesn't bulk up on you. And I'm just going to add a bit more adhesive to each of the corners so that it sticks. And then you'll just wrap it down. There. Get this nice. And you can see, as delicate as the tissue paper is, it's still, it doesn't tear that easily that you're worried about that. So anyways, there's your nice wrinkly look. And then comes the pièce de resistance. So this is my go at the layered, kind of distressed look. I took, this is the sport event dies. I took the ticket and I cut out some vellum, the layer, what's it called? The one with the words on it. You can't really see it very well. And then I did a second one and I rubbed the edges to kind of distress that. And then I took that silver meshy ribbon that's in the annual catalog and I added that behind. I stamped and cut out from the Ranunculus Romance the flowers and this piece, and then it has another leafy piece. So I cut out these three and I added those together and I put a ribbon and I cut out the hello again from the stamp set, and voila, my faux silk layered card. So just to review, That's the third one. Second one is the sailboat. And the first one is the flower. So those are all playing with tissue paper. So hopefully that inspired you to go play with some tissue paper. I will be posting these later on. I also will add this video to my YouTube channel. So if you have friends who don't necessarily have Facebook and you think they would like it, you can always send them to my YouTube channel. I will post that link as well once I have it up. And hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll see you again next week. And hopefully you have a good rest of your week. All right, take care. Bye.